Okay, friends, get your beverage, whether that is coffee, tea, water, maybe an adult beverage, and sit down because we're going to really spill the tea on what it's like to be an instructional designer. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Vanessa, and on this channel, I help aspiring instructional designers and e-learning developers just like you get off of the sidelines and get into the L&D game. And again, today we're going to talk all about what it's like to really be an instructional designer. So I sat down and I thought about what I wanted to do today. It is almost my birthday. Shout out to anybody born on April 9th, like my dear friend Hugh Hefner, RIP. But I wanted to have some time to chat with you all about what it's really like to be in instructional design. Imposter syndrome is so real, and social media, frankly, just exacerbates that, right? Everyone's posting their highlights, everyone's posting their wins and all these really highs, and to say that I'm not one of them, that's a lie. I know I'm one of them, but no one's really talking about the day-to-day struggles where it's really hard to be in instructional design, and it sucks some days. So I thought, you know what? Let's just give the people what they want and let's really talk about it, because I also think it'll help you decide whether or not you really want to be in this field. So let's get into it. So one thing that I struggle with, and I see so many posts about this, I see articles, videos, blogs, all the things about it, is not being an order taker when you're in instructional design. Cool, great. I actually agree. And I agree that learning and development needs to be a partner with departments and organizations. And we need to have a seat at the table from the beginning, rather than oh yeah, at the end, we need to do some training. If you want to actually influence behavior change and see a return on your investment, learning and development is critical to that. 100. When you are in the beginning of your career, and at times throughout your career, and there are times today that I even do this, you will be an order taker. It just is what it is. You haven't built up yet, depending on your career. You haven't built up, your I'm gonna struggle with this word, consultative experience, right? You don't even know how to have a consulting call. You don't know how to really consult with the client and push back when they're flat out wrong. So it's okay if in the beginning you are handed assignments and you just do them. Okay. And sometimes you need to take those projects in order to make sure your bills are paid. I'm not going to turn down a project necessarily, that, they come to me and this is what they want. They don't want to budge, even if I'm not really sure. I don't really think that that's really the best, answer there to solution, or I know that's not going to change behavior. If a bill needs to get paid, I'm going to do that project. And that's just how it is. At the end of the day, we need to have some of those in order to make sure that our business keeps making money. Not every project is going to be this huge dream consultative project. Some of them are just going to be, hey, I need this, and here is the storyboard, and go on and develop. Cool, fine. And there are going to be times that you do set up a partnership with your client, but at the end of the day, they end up just really sticking to their guns on something, and you just have to say, you know what, fine, it's your product, you're the client, that's what I'm, here you go. And that happens from time to time. I have a really great client right now, and, they pushed back on something so small as, removing breaks from, their 90-minute virtual session, and the content is dense, it's heavy, and we push back on removing those, citing that we really need the learners have time to use the restroom, decompress, get up, walk around for a couple of minutes. And they said, nope, we need that time to continue pounding them with content. And at the end of the day, I said, you know what, I don't agree with it, but fine. If you want to pull it out, we'll pull it out. But it's not good for the learner. And we do notice that, a lot of times, the learners will say, this is a lot of content in 90 minutes and I really needed to step away, but they really wanted it. And that's what we gave them. So don't feel like you have to, shy away, or don't feel bad about yourself if you feel more like an order taker rather than a consultant, or a partner. That takes time, and every single consultant at one point or another just delivers what their client wants, because sometimes it's not even worth the fight. So some clients are going to be great and some are going to be not so great.
You're such a bad person.
And that's okay. In the very beginning, I think, especially when you're freelancing, you get so excited when you sign a new client and you really vibed during, your initial meetings, and you're like, yes, this is going to be a great client to work with. And they turn out not being so great. And I think in the beginning, it's like when you get into a new relationship and you have rose-colored glasses, or you're in that honeymoon phase and everything's wonderful, and then slowly but surely those glasses come off and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought this was going to be. And that's going to happen from time to time, and that's okay. That just means that once that project ends, maybe that's not the client for you. Maybe it's not meant to continue that relationship, and it's just going to help fuel you to further refine, what it is that you're doing in instructional design, the type of work that you want to do, the type of clients that you want to work with. So all of those lessons, yes, they suck to learn, but they're all good lessons and they help you along in the future. And then when you have a YouTube channel, you can talk about the experiences that you had when you had a client that wasn't that great. Just FYI, you're going to get ghosted more than you get hired. I cannot tell you how many initial calls I've been on, how many proposals I've sent where all of a sudden the person goes away, ghosts me, and I never hear from them again. It happens. Still happens to this day. But you know what? It just, again, helps to refine who I want to work with, the types of projects, and helps refine my process. So by being ghosted so often, or being on these meetings that were so pointless, I was like, I can't do this all the time. I can't not spend my day talking with people, getting their requirements. For me to write a proposal and a statement of work and really identify what the cost is going to truly be to create what they want, it takes time. I don't have a pricing sheet that I just go to and say 15-minute e-learn, $15,000. No. Okay, I really sit back and I think, okay, how much interactivity are they looking for? What level? Do we have to create graphics? There are so many pieces that clients don't realize that go on behind the scenes that you have to factor into. So I got really tired of doing all of that all the time for people that were like, you know what, that's way too expensive. And it's like, you know what, you were probably never in my ballpark, or you're price fishing. And every time I say price fishing, I always think of that commercial. Was it Geico or something? Or some sort of insurance company with got the dollar on the, what's that thing called? Fishing rod. On the fishing rod. You see how much I fish?
I got you $1.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
So these people are probably just price fishing, and that's fine. So what I learned from that is I'm going to cut out having getting everyone on a call and wanting to get their requirements. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have a form. And it's going to email me with their response. And when someone is interested in scheduling a consultation, I'm going to send them this form. And it basically outlines, listen, what kind of services are you looking for? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? What's your budget? And I've had people that said, well, I want a 2-hour e-learn for $2,000. Well, ma'am, I cannot help you with that. But it helps me weed people out. So I definitely, learned a lot from having those experiences, but it is true. You're going to get stuck being ghosted, and you're going to get really excited about projects that you can do a really good job at, and then they're not going to call you, or they're going to pick someone else, and it's going to suck. But that's every day as an instructional designer, especially on the freelance side. So just when you think you have everything figured out, there's going to be a curveball. I can promise you that. And things always change. Our minds are always evolving. Learning is always evolving. The field is always evolving. People were told a lot of misinformation about things like learning styles and all of those things that they change, right? Things get debunked, and just we learn more about adult learning, and the world is always changing. So at any given moment, a curveball is going to be thrown at you. So just when you think that you might be done learning all there is about instructional design, you're not. You're never done learning everything about instructional design. So taking time to always have, put personal development on your calendar and carve out that time is critical. You want to make sure that you are ahead of trends, you're on trends, and you're utilizing, the most recent data and the most recent theories, not most recent, but I guess most recent theories, and making sure that you're using, updated research and data, and proven research and data is really what I should be saying, to inform, your learning plans and the different types of activities that you're doing and things like that. If you are still using research from the 1950s that haven't been updated with today's virtual world, you probably are not meeting your clients, you're doing a disservice to your client. You're not meeting their needs. So you have to make sure that you carve out that time for professional development. And I know that there are so many blogs to read, and there's these podcasts, and there's these YouTube videos, although you should be making time on every Wednesday at 8 a.m. to watch a YouTube video. Not saying which one, I'm just saying 8 a.m. Wednesdays, YouTube videos. But make that time, right? Give yourself an hour. If you are washing dishes, throw in your earbuds and listen to a quick podcast. But also know that it's okay not to always listen to all the podcasts, be on all the social media channels, do this and do that. Take time for yourself. Which brings me to another real thing, like you cannot be on every single social media platform. So understand that you need to pick and choose where you want to put your time and your energy. Social media, along with being a highlight reel, is really exhausting. And there's a reason why it's a job. It's a whole department, because it's a lot, to have things to post on Instagram, to have things to post on Facebook, comment on things on LinkedIn and post on, YouTube, write a blog, do this, do that. It's all a lot. So just pick 2 or 3 places to be and really be there. And I don't just mean like on the surface, but like comment, give more than you are asking to receive. Don't ask to receive, just give. Because what you'll notice is that the more that you give, is the more that you actually receive. So if you're going into these social media platforms thinking like, okay, I'm going to go on there and all of a sudden I'm going to have 100,000 followers. Like that's not how this works. Things just snowball. Like YouTube, it took me a while to get to my first 100 subscribers. I know a lot of them are probably my family, big fat Spanish and Cuban family. But like, I feel like, especially lately, like every day I'm getting notifications, someone else is subscribing, and sometimes it'll be like multiple people, and people are coming into, my Facebook group, and they'll say, yep, I found you from your YouTube channel. Like all those things snowball. So again, the more that you put out there, the more you end up receiving in the end. And for me, it's just a matter of like, I love having a conversation with my camera by myself in my house. I get to do my hair and my makeup, and I just have a little bit of fun. There's like nothing more to it than that. So just know that when you're in the beginning of the industry, you're going to want to just pick and choose where you want to be, and don't worry about being on everything and on the next big thing. So let's talk a little bit about finding gigs. I know I went a little bit of a tangent on the curveballs, but we're going to go back to job hunting and being ghosted. There are going to be times that you are depressed and you're not really sure where your next gig is going to come from. That is what freelance is like. It is hard to build up a pipeline, and it takes time. Don't think that you're going to start out of the gate and you're going to have that pipeline like, yep, client, project. We're done with this one. I want you to work on this one. Like, it's okay. Take a breath, bring in some projects, bring in some clients, and just start there. And just be a good saver. Okay, make sure you have your finances set. If you need some tips on how to, finance or how to set up your finances, click the link above and that will take you to the freelancing finances video that I did a couple of months ago. But make sure you're taking the time to set up that savings and that safety net to account for maybe like that week or two that you don't really have as much going on. Another thing that you can do to help offset some of that is subcontracting with agencies where they're actually fishing for the work and then they're just giving it to you. And that really puts more of the onus on them to keep that pipeline filled. So know that those times are going to come and there's going to be dry months, there are going to be months like I had it back in January and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know what, like, I know what I'm going to have to do next. I have consistency with some clients, but a lot of things that I thought I was going to land, I didn't. They ended up going with other people. And that's fine. It ended up working out and it really does help me. It helps me refine a lot of things in my business and help me put, different things into place that I didn't have before. And it actually was a good lesson to learn. But I was like depressed and I did have a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like, where is my next project going to be? Like my next big project, right? So if there is a way for you to build up some sort of consistency with the client and build up a partnership with someone where they're feeding you pretty consistent work, that helps to kind of like keep you pretty stable. And then you can bring in larger projects here and there, and it kind of helps ease a little bit of the freelancing part of things, and ease those like dry desert type times. But frankly, you're going to have them. So plan for it and make sure you have savings. You're not going to be creative all the time. It is going to be hard. Some days you're going to get a project and you're going to look at your computer screen and be like, don't know where to start this. Don't know where I'm going to start. And that's fine. I mean, that's kind of the process of being creative. You can't always be creative. So taking time for yourself and doing self-care and just, not always rushing into the next project or the next to-do list, the next to-do item on your list, that is critical to make sure you can continue to be creative. Having conversation with friends, with other instructional designers and colleagues and asking them more about, their experience or past projects that they've worked on. Like if you are putting together a virtual workshop, feel free to contact, other instructional designers, your tribe, to be like, hey, like, do you have like a really cool, fun, new team building activity or icebreaker? I just want to like see what else is out there and try something new. And if you're looking for that tribe because you don't have one, click the link down below and join the Freelance Learning and Development Network and ask us. There's so many of us there that are ready to, provide you with feedback and give you more, help you be more creative and give you advice on things that have worked for us in the past. You don't have to make up everything on your own. You can borrow from others, and that's totally fine. That's what I love about instructional design and learning development is that by nature, we are all giving people and we want to help others grow and succeed. That's kind of like the whole point of the industry. So people want to help share and they want to, give you things that have worked for you so that you're not always reinventing the wheel. So don't feel like you have to shut down and be creative all the time. You can borrow from others, and I would definitely recommend taking those breaks so you have time for yourself to rest, to get into the zone on the next project. And there are sometimes you're going to get a project and you're like, I don't even know where the hell to start.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
That's okay. You will figure it out. Having a project plan, again, having someone that can, a lot of times I will connect with my director of learning experience design and Anchor training. And I'm like, I just need to talk out this entire project so I can figure out steps, what I need to do exactly. And I just have a brainstorm dumping session. And that is just the kick that I need, and that everything else makes sense. So it's okay if you're not creative, just find what works for you to get you back into that creative zone. So the other thing, work-life balance isn't a thing. And I hate that we are at a place that we're always talking about work-life balance. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have it. Okay? I don't have it. And there is flexibility in this industry if you are freelancing. Agreed. but there is also not. So I know there are certain times of the year that I am going to be working from 7 a.m. or well, like now, because my kids are older, like 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. And that is just kind of like the ebbs and the flows of the industry. And there are going to be months that are a little bit, that are not as crazy. And I have more time and I have more flexibility in my schedule. That's just how it is. And for me, work and life aren't really separate things, especially when you're living at home and you're working from home. They are now combined for me, right? So my kids know that when I'm in a conference call in the car, when I pick them up from school, you know, mommy's in a meeting and they sit quiet in the back. Or there are times that people know that I can't jump on a call because I'm taking my kid to dance class or something like that. That's just how things go. It is okay if you don't find that work-life balance or you feel like you're working all the time in the beginning. That is fine. Like that is kind of how it is in the beginning. You're just trying to find projects. You're saying yes to a lot of things because you haven't exactly figured out your balance. You haven't figured out how much you could really take on at one time, especially when you're freelancing and you take on multiple projects at once. And that's going to be critical in order to make sure that you're always working on something, because so often you will get projects that will go on hold. And sometimes they're a really long hold. I've literally been on projects that it's like a year-long hold. So those are just some times that you have to figure out kind of what your schedule looks like and what that balance looks like. And sometimes life is going to take on more than work. You know, currently we're moving, and for me, life is a little bit heavier than my work is. So I have to just figure out where to put in that work and how to block my schedule so that I can make time to do all the things that I have to do for my life. So work-life balance, like what they teach you or what you read on the internet, ain't a thing. But know that there'll be times that work is heavier, life is heavier, but you'll just figure it out. And life and work eventually will kind of like intermingle because you'll end up really loving your job. Which brings me to my last confession. If this is truly the industry for you, it is going to be part of every fiber of your being. And I innately just start training, or I innately start developing resources, or I just start solving problems in other areas of my life, especially, you know, volunteer positions that I hold, that I don't know, it just natural for me. It comes so natural. I remember when I was working at, a home remodeling company, and I went into, to be their office manager because I thought I should have been in HR, and then I kept picking up training projects, and I was like, oh, I really need to get back into training. That's really where my heart is. That really is where, where I'm happiest. And you will feel that too. Not every day is going to be fun, and you might hate this job some days, and some days I really do. But at the end of the day, what I notice with other areas of my life, instructional design, learning development, helping people learn, helping people do better and be better, are just all things that I love to do and I naturally am drawn to. So it just, like, I don't think of my work as separate from me. I just think of it as who I am. I'm also an Enneagram 3 and I love work. So sorry, but that's just the truth. And that's it. Those are my confessions. If you want more, I know I have a ton more. Please leave a comment down below or give this video a thumbs up, and I can definitely do a part 2, Confessions of an Instructional Designer. And friends, make sure you are joining the Freelance Learning Development Network. And thank you for watching. Thank you for making, we're almost at a year of this. Thank you for making this just an amazing channel, an amazing place to be. And I look forward to our next video. Bye.